Hello everyone and welcome to this review of the Merkava 4M Tier 10 Israeli MBT. Its primary features in game is the fact that it has a soft kill APS system and a hard kill APS system that shoots down both projectiles over 105mm, this includes AP rounds, and missiles. It comes with quite strong frontal protection versus missiles and shape charges, while its side armor is relatively weak. It can be set on fire from the front, and it has 3 ammo rack locations in the vehicle. So, generally speaking, it's quite a difficult target to take out if you get hold down with it. Its ready rack allows it to do a very good shot strike first damage, but its cannon is one of the weakest in tier 10, so the ready rack obviously is the best way to use the vehicle. Let's have a look at its modification tree first. Start of the tank, you do not need to have any armor packages, however you do come with a Trophy 8 hard kill APS system, then a spore liner and then an NG projectile, which comes with 2 more charges and a 10-second faster reload time. You also have some smoke grenades, which provides 3 more volleys, and a relatively short firepower line with an improved FCS, decreases spotted by enemy delay feedback, and the standard 800mm penetration and a pretty usual 120mm cannon. Otherwise it comes with a 15 horsepower engine, which you do not need to upgrade, however it does come with improved drive sprockets and improved shock absorbers, the shock absorbers of which will actually help, a fire suppression system, and a troop compartment for, I guess, when you're playing Glops. And lastly, it gives you a shuttle light camouflage and a improved retrofit slot. Compared to other tier 10s on the same tier, such as the Alte, the Leopard 2AX, ATDU, Armata 99, and the XM1A3 with the 120mm rounds, you can see where the Merkava sits here really. It has the weakest shot-for-shot gun damaging 120mm shells out of all of them, and of also the weakest ones. However, it does have significantly higher penetration than the Charlie 2 and the XM1A3 with the 120, and its DPM is relatively pretty decent at 6,151, which is leagues ahead of the Challenger 2 and slightly better than 99A. However, it falls behind the Alte, Leopard 2AX, T14, and will get absolutely smashed by the XM1A3. However, its reload time is also pretty decent as well. 6.84 seconds is actually pretty good, and combined with the excellent hull armor, which is the highest in the game, it does mean you'll be able to outlast just about every single tier 9 and a lot of tier 10s if you play correctly as well. However, its camouflage sucks, as it's the size of a skyscraper, and its gun depression is rather lacking as well. The turret traverse is pretty good, however, and its 0 to 32 at 5.13 at 5.17 is the second worst out of the lot, but then again it's actually pretty decent for a tier 10 MBT, with the ATDU being a rather sluggish 7 seconds in comparison. Lastly, it is a relatively heavy vehicle, being only beaten out by 4 other vehicles in the same tier, as it weighs the same as the Alte. How the Alte weighs 65 tons is beyond me, but oh well. There are quite a few commanders you could use for the tank. If you want to straight up go for damage, there is the option to use Cortez, as he will mean that you will hit every single shot for max damage, 581 instead of anywhere from 476 to 581. It also comes with a loader as well, which means you can use some of the more crew specific guys. But generally speaking, you probably want to use people like Gia, who, if you are counting on using your APS a lot, taking fire will reduce your APS time by 32%, which brings your APS reload timer down to around 16 seconds. Gives you some nice bonus stats as well. But you could also use Maximilian Koenig, who will give you some repair speed increase, aim time, and some damage reduced by ramming. There is also the option to use Rachel Kramer, who will maximize your reload by quite a lot when you hit modules and if enemies come close to you. There's also the option to use commanders like Victor, who will give you the extremely high module and crew damage, allowing you to perma-track enemies quite a lot. And then there's also the fact you can use Philip if you want to go for a more tanky version of yourself with better ammo rack and, generally speaking, buffs in lots of directions, but the main buff being a repair speed increase of 40%, which means you do not have to take an improved Pioneer toolkit if you do not want to. As I said, those commanders are generally up to you. Driver wise, I recommend track and wheel repair increase by 25%, as well as acceleration off road terrain. Gunner wise, aim speed and overall accuracy, and loader, repair speed increased by 10% and reload speed is not reduced when ammo rack and breach are hit. Standard things apply, however you do also get the options for missiles, but 800 pen is not going to help at this tier, trust me. Lastly, since this is a Macabre, it means its gas tanks is in the front, which means it will set on fire quite a lot, so an improved fire extinguisher is mandatory. You could also go for my retrofit, which is an improved Pioneer toolkit, a gun breech and a muzzle reference system. I put a filter system here, but overall I would recommend possibly going for ballistic computer or for active thermal camera. Now, the last part about the tank is of course the armor model. As you can see here, there is the engine in the front and the gas tank in the lower portion of the left side of the tank. Hold down, it can be a pretty tricky vehicle to take out, but side on is where things get absolutely awful. As you can see here, its side armor is quite weak. You have a ammo rack here, a ammo rack here, and a ammo rack. I'm pretty sure there's an ammo rack in the back somewhere, but oh well. But yeah, the Merc does have quite a lot of ammo rack locations, and the fact that it's quite a big hitbox being around here, as well as in the back here, means that you don't ever want to get caught side on to people, so always face towards them frontally. For now, let's have a look at some games. The Merkava 4M is quite a unwieldy vehicle, to be honest. It's not exactly as fast as the other tier 10s, but at least the top speed is nice. On maps like this, the tank does do better in close quarters confrontations. It allows you to bring your ready rack to bear, and allows you to also do the absolutely wonderful habit of perma-tracking people, which, as you know, is always one of the best ways to kill and annoy and embarrass just about anybody in the game. So, as usual, I'm going to head straight towards the city in this tank. It's just about the only thing you want to do. When it comes to tanks such as the Leopard 2 AX, you don't want to trade shots with them. Instead, you want to empty your ready rack into them, possibly perma-track them, back off, and then keep doing it. Once you fire all 4 shots into a tank, you're generally going to win, as it's around about 2,000 damage to them, or half their hit points. As well as the fact you also have a serious amount of hit points, means that you will be able to very much punish just about anybody, really. So, we could have sniped here, really. Unfortunately, we did have this asshole in the Merc who decided to could have gotten me killed, I'm gonna say. But oh well. The fact this tank has a hard kill APS system means that if you've got it charged and ready, you can generally tank a hit from somebody and they're done for. So advance into the city here. That Object 640 has run off, and now you're going to see what this ready rack is capable of. One hit into that guy. Bouncy shell from there. Leopard 2AX is coming up. There's a Wilk over there. Fire shot at him. And this Leopard is now not going to have a fun day. As you can see here, 1, 2 shots into him. And a relatively quick reload time of 6.84 seconds means I can finish this guy off before he can hit me. Generally speaking, the Black Eagle and the Merkava 4 have relatively similar reload times, The Black Eagle having worse penetration but higher damage, and the Merc having higher penetration, and of course the glorious Ready Rack. So we've done 1600 damage at this point. 4 shots to the enemy, not bad. Well, 5 shots really, but I'm going to say 4. So for now, the fact that in comparison to other Mercs who it can take around 30 seconds to reload, in this case we can get to around 24-25 seconds for a full clip, which is pretty decent. So now I'm going to auto load this guy. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lovely amount of damage there. Which you can see there, if I was using a standard tank, wouldn't have been able to get much damage in, or he possibly could have fired a shot at me. So, hey, it's all good. Glorious Ready Rack. So, in a situation like this, there's no real point capping. I have the agility to get there as much as this thing actually has, so I might as well go up. We did find a very unfortunate Cornet. Now, tanks like the Cornet can pen through the front of the Merkava, so be aware. But at the very least, this tank does have the hit points to be able to weather quite a few shots before it goes down. So for now the game's almost over. I only really get another couple of more shots in, but as you can see there, the Ready Rack allowed me to fuck over both of those leopards pretty well actually. If I didn't have that, he could have maybe put a couple more shots into me. Wouldn't have gone well. 503 and bang goes the T-15. Pop goes the T-15 really when you think about it. So let's have a look at the post-game stats on that one to find how many shots the APS system blocked, as that's always a fun thing to figure out when you're in the Merkava. Ah, there we go. Where is it? There we go. 5,983 damage done, 1 enemy spotted, 4 enemies destroyed. One shot hit a bunch of those guys, Ready Racked on these guys twice, and a full rack into that Leopard 2AX. So 2,059 is probably the max damage you're going to really do with this. Top of the team, good. 17 shots fired, 15 hit, 2 missed. Potential damage done was 6,400, and the APS blocked 1,300 damage respectively. Not bad. And no damage received thanks to that APS over there. So let's have a look at another game. So this match is going to be a little bit more different than the previous one. Some of the Merkava's weaknesses, as I've mentioned, as if you've lightly encountered AW, it's quite a universal thing with them, is the very weak side armor. The Mercs will go pop if you shoot them in the side quite a lot. The gas tank is there, the Emirac is there, a lot of the crew is there. And generally speaking, as you saw in the previous Merkava 2D review, it's actually the only Merc in the game that actually has any decent side armor. The rest, such as the 4M, kind of suck, basically. So while other tanks such as the ATDU have at least some kind of side armor protection, the Merkava 4M, it kind of goes with the Type 99A, in where all the protection is on the front. Now, two Merkavas going up against each other is usually a dick measure in contrast of who has who can pile on rounds the fastest. So having someone else to shoot them is also good as well. As you can see here, shot, it happens already. Still not a bad amount of damage. But as you can see there, he dealt half of his clip to me. I put a full one in him. Shit happens. But even after taking 1,000 damage, I still had as much hit points as that Alte or that Leopard 2. And thanks to my APS, I blocked a shot from that Leopard 2. So one of the things of the Merc is actually leading the charge. High amount of hit points, ready rack.
Identify target.
Of course, the soft kill APS means that you can generally weather the storm and go up fast enough to go places. However, being shot in the front can set you on fire, can explode your engine, and bad things can and will happen. So for now I'm going to wait for the ready rack to finish up, and then we're going to go back in. As you can see here by the remaining time left, either this is the fastest game of PvP or I'm going to die. But oh well, shit happens. Death to the Black Eagle over there, which is all well and good. And then of course I'm going to go for this Alt-A next, even though the Leopard 2 is going to hit me, as the Alt-A is the more dangerous tank in this scenario. So you can see 1, 2, and now unfortunately this Leopard will get me in the end. But I think killing the Alt-A was in the end quite worth it. A guy gets me in the turret ring. But a relatively large amount of damage was done in a pretty short amount of time, so I'm not mad. It happens. And it means that you shouldn't exactly throw your life away. I wasn't really throwing my life away, I had a very different idea of how that would go. But building up the ready rack there and emptying on the 640 and the Alt-A allowed me to do an extra 2000 damage. Not bad. Final closing thoughts on the Makarov really is that I should probably remember to look at the post-game stats. I mean, this is a tier 10 tank. You have to get an unlock to get a tier 9, and then an unlock from the tier 9 to get to the tier 10. So, you know. And obviously, if you want the Merc, you're going to have to go through the Merc line, as there isn't any other Israeli vehicles there. So, if you want it, you're going to have to get it. And I cannot remember where I put it. Where did I put this game? Okay, there we go. So 6,347 damage done. Quite a bit of damage done to those guys. Pretty nice. 14 shots fired, 14 landed on target. Only one shot really didn't do as much as it could have. But the APS blocked 2,788 damage. That's half of my hit points blocked. Pretty nifty. So I guess if you want a tank with a hard kill APS protection, the ability to lead a charge, and the ability to go pew 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 pew, then the Makarov is for you. It's a pretty fun tank, and while it isn't exactly the challenger when it comes to Spec Ops or anything else really, it can still be useful in PvE. But I feel like its usefulness will mostly come in Glops, where the ability to capture bases faster, the ready rack, and the ridiculous amount of hit points will help defending and attacking cap circles. While in PvP, vehicles like other tier 10 MBTs may be better, the Merc is still a pretty solid choice. I give this tank 1 cardboard box out of 10 Soviet Unions. And I hope you enjoyed this review. This is going to be the last review while I'm still in the UK. I will be getting married this Saturday, but there will be a review on Sunday, and of course a review for Wednesday, which I will have to do now. So take care everyone, and I'll see you all next time.